You're gonna get to a point where you're gonna need to let yourself be perceived and allow yourself to shine and allow yourself to take up space. We can't always just play so small and shrink ourselves down to make other people feel comfortable or be concerned of other people's comfort at all. It's not our job to make people feel comfortable, but it is our job to fulfill our own needs. And what fulfilling our own needs is being our true authentic selves to ourselves. I feel like it's a huge disservice to not be ourselves and to constantly be in a way worrying about what other people are thinking and worrying about other people's opinions about us and changing ourselves to fit their comfort and shrinking ourselves down. And a lot of the time, in order to step into that best version of ourselves, we also have to step into the version of ourselves that is okay with our flaws being perceived as well. Not just the strongest version of us, but the version of us that's not always in the right mental space, the version of us that's sometimes scared. But there's a power that comes with accepting those parts of yourself and allowing those parts of yourself to be seen and knowing that none of that necessarily defines who you are as a person. Because we could get so down on ourselves sometimes for having these flaws, for having these parts of ourselves, but we need to realize that everybody has these parts of themselves, and in a way, it's not until we accept it and fully embrace those flaws that we can fully step into our own power and move with power, because now we're coming from a place of wholeness and not just abandoning a part of ourselves that's flawed. See, if you were to accept yourself for the way that you are, including your flaws and everything like that, now when you do mess up or you do something wrong or you do something that isn't up to your standard, you're not going to be so down on yourself because you're not abandoning that part of yourself. You've accepted that part of yourself and you know that it's okay, because that's just part of you. That's just part of what comes with being human, and that's totally fine. The power that comes with accepting your flaws and accepting every single part of yourself is authority. It's authority, because now you're not going to be, in a way, you're not going to be ruled over by your flaws. You're not going to let your flaws define who you are as a person, because you've accepted it as part of who you are, and in a way you're kind of above it now. Because before, if you don't accept that part of yourself and allow that part of yourself to be there, then when it does come to the surface, you're going to feel out of control because you're not used to it being there and you're used to pushing it away. I just seen a butterfly. Wow. And I'm on the top floor, so seeing a butterfly up here is just confirmation. But it's very important for us to, when we want to step into a higher version of ourselves, we could get into this idea that we restrict ourselves to an idea in our mind that's just perfect all the time, because that's our highest version, and we want to step into that version and be that version. But what we don't realize is that the highest version of us is actually the version of us that's able to accept our flaws when they do come about, because our highest version of ourselves is actually us right now. But imagine if the highest version of ourselves, just hypothetically, came into our state of being right now. If you had the mental of your highest version of yourself and you ended up getting frustrated about something, our highest version of ourselves is not somebody who just doesn't get frustrated. It's somebody who understands how to move through that, who understands how to adjust, who understands how to readjust and forgive yourself and move forward with the next steps, and understands that every moment is a new moment, and that no mistakes that we make define who we are. And the reason that I'm putting so much emphasis on just allowing your flaws to be seen is because when we feel like we're ready to shine and allow ourselves to shine, it's not always going to be shine. It's not always going to be all sparkly glitz and glam. It's not always going to be that way, and we're going to have to learn to accept that and move with that and not abandon that part of ourselves, because that part of ourselves, that's just part of us. Because we wouldn't have the good parts of ourselves if we didn't have the bad parts. And so it's just like we just got to learn how to work with it. Like I said, there is a courage that comes with accepting those flaws. And when we want to give ourselves permission to shine, that confidence that we need in order to shine comes from accepting that you're not perfect and allowing that to just be there. Allowing yourself to just be imperfect. And accepting it and actually loving that part of yourself. Because imagine this, okay? Let's just say, just for me, for example, I'm a YouTuber, right? Let's just say I'm trying to record, right? And somebody comes along and I just start to like get all nervous, or I start to lose my train of thought and I'm not able to say what I need to say. I could do two things. I could blame myself, and I could start being really hard on myself and being like, damn, I wish I could just like talk freely, more openly. Or I could just be like, well, okay, that's fine. Next, like I'll just wait for this person to go. If that's really how I'm feeling, if I really need privacy to record, then okay, that's fine. If I mess up some words, I'm just gonna laugh it off or just move on to the next and just really not care, because it's like I know that those small mistakes don't define who I am as a person, and those small mistakes just come with being human. It's like that's just how it is. And I'm just gonna speak from experience here. But back in the day when I used to do YouTube, I've been doing YouTube for a little while, and I used to write down everything that I was going to say. I used to feel like I would have to say every single word right. I used to feel like I had to execute the idea just so perfectly, and I'll put so much effort into these videos, and that's one thing. I wasn't fully accepting that part of myself that wasn't perfect, and I was pushing away that part of myself that wasn't perfect. Therefore, I wasn't able to fully be myself the way that I'm able to do right now. That's why I'm putting so much emphasis on accepting that shadow version of you, because the shadow version of you is what's going to give you power. That's the shadow version of you. Once you accept your shadow, once you move with your shadow, then that's when you become whole. You're not abandoning a part of yourself. There's so much more flow and so much more ease that comes when you accept that version of yourself that's not going to be perfect. I don't really care if I mess up a sentence. I don't really care if I don't say something as fast as I want to say it. It's the fact that I accept those versions of me. I'm not putting that pressure on myself, and that way I'm able to fully step into who I am. I needed to accept my dark in order to fully step into my light, because you can't have one without the other. I personally want to get to a point where I'm able to just speak without really caring what people think, like in person. Like if someone were to be sitting next to me, that's something that I'm working on right now, and I feel like that comes with accepting the fact that, or just knowing that I'm worthy exactly the way that I am and that I don't have to force myself to be this perfect, polished, posh version of myself in order to be worthy. Nor is my worth dependent on their opinion of me at all. And so I feel like that's what's gonna make the change in me. I'm gonna need to be able to realize that none of their opinions affect who I am, or define my own opinions or define the value, the weight of my words. I don't have to be a polished version of myself. And I feel like the more that I tell myself that, the more that I accept that, the more that I'm going to be able to move with that. The more that I'm going to be able to allow myself to be perceived. You know, everyone can say stop playing small, go big, go bold, but the whole reason people are able to go big and go bold is not because they're being this high perfect version of themselves. It's because they've accepted every part of themselves and they don't care at all of whoever says whatever people think, because they know who they are within here, and they're going to continue to show up in the way that serves them, regardless of however it makes other people feel. And that comes with accepting that shadow, because when people try to attack that shadow and you don't love that shadow, you don't hold that shadow, you don't accept that shadow, then you're gonna feel attacked, you're gonna feel vulnerable, because you don't know what to do, because you can't even love that version of you. If you can't love that version of you, now when people come for it, it's like it's gonna feel like the end of the world, because you don't know how to handle it, because you haven't handled it yourself. And so if you don't know how to operate through love for your shadow self, for the version of you that's not always on 10, then you're never going to be fully able to move with full authenticity. People who might have certain opinions about you is only because they have those opinions about themselves. It's only because they have those opinions about themselves. If they start to hate on another person, if those, like, I just be thinking about the haters online when they just be saying the most stuff, when they be making fake accounts to say blah 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 to this person. It's like, clearly they're dealing with something within here. Clearly that's something that they say towards themselves. If someone were to come at me for the way that I look, it's simply because they have something in their own head telling them that they feel. They have times where they'll look at themselves and be like, I don't feel like I look good on da 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 da, like, you know? Sometimes you're just gonna have to mentally step into that version of you that you want to be and just tell the old version of you that that's not me anymore. We're so used to being small, we're so used to being humble and just shrinking ourselves down, but it is time to be big, be bold, and be unapologetic about every part of yourself, because that's how you actually be big and bold. It's about not caring at all about whether you trip and fall, whether you mess up. It's about not caring about any of that, because you know that none of that defines who you are, and you know that you're just gonna keep on moving forward. Whew. Did you guys see that? That was one of them fluffy things. But anyways, that version of me does not serve me anymore. So you gotta tell yourself, that version of me does not serve me anymore. That version of me is not me. That's not me anymore. That's not me anymore. I'm not going to force myself to be a certain way. I'm not gonna force myself to try to be perfect and put myself in a box of perfection, because perfection is a box. Perfection is a box that you put yourself in that doesn't allow yourself to breathe, because you expect yourself to be perfect all the time. When you put yourself in a box of perfection, since you can't be perfect, now when you're not perfect, you're gonna crash out. I accept all parts of myself. I accept all the parts of myself that mess up. I accept all the parts of myself that's messy, that sometimes can't keep up, that sometimes whatever. I accept it, and I forgive myself. I forgive myself for having those parts of myself. I allow it to be there and move forward. Move forward with the new identity. Move forward, because our identity can constantly change all the time. Just because you've been a certain way for however many years, however many months, however long, doesn't mean that you can't shift your identity right now. I put so much emphasis, if you watch my content, I put so much emphasis on identity because there's just so much power that comes with shifting that identity and telling yourself that you are a different version of yourself now. Even me just talking about this right now just brings so much freedom in my heart because I'm saying it verbally aloud, and that's what comes with this human experience, and that's the power that comes with this human experience. That's the power we can step into. That's the power that we can step into and fully embrace. When we embrace the thing that we've been abandoning, it's like, okay, wait, hold on. Now we're whole. Now we're whole. We're not abandoning a part of ourselves. It's been kind of hard for me to find locations to record, but it's about accepting that part of myself that's not able to find good places to record, and that's okay. That's okay, and I'm just gonna let that be. I'm just gonna let that part of myself be. I'm just gonna let this time of just not being able to have the most perfect places to record just be. I'm just gonna be in this time right now. I accept this time, and I accept this moment of transformation for me, and I feel like there's a lot of transformation going on in other people as well. A lot of realignment, a lot of stepping into the whole version of ourselves, readjusting. A new version of ourselves is being bloomed, a new version of ourselves is coming into fruition, and I feel like there's a lot of shedding that is happening right now. A lot of shedding. Accept yourself exactly the way that you are, and know that you can always adjust, know that you can always change, know that you can always change every moment, choose a new identity every moment. If you would like to have a one-on-one call with me, you can book in the description down below. I've been loving all the calls I've been having. Thank you so much to all the people who book. I truly appreciate it, and it's so life-giving. If you like my shirt, go ahead and get you one in the description. It says Blame Red 40. Please tell me if you guys get the jokes of my shirts. If you don't know, I have a brand, and it's all about, you know, fifth dimensional consciousness, higher consciousness stuff, more awareness. I have another one right here actually, because I didn't know which shirt to wear for this video, so I brought two. So it says, I don't FW canola oil. You get it? You get it? If you get it, please comment it for the people who don't get it, because we need to get these people to understand. We need to get people to understand and create the movement. But I really enjoyed making this video, and I really feel a lot lighter. I feel good. I feel higher energy creating this video. I feel like there's been a shift in this video, and yeah, I'm so grateful for all of you, truly, and I appreciate every single one of you guys, my whole heart. Also, thank you so much for 10K. Like, that's it. I could get emotional just talking about it. I remember looking at my subscriber count, and it was at like 84, and I was stuck at 84 subscribers for a long time. Yeah, it's just really great to have so many people that understand and resonates with my messages. I feel so much love in my community, and I feel so much love from all the people who comment, and I know that there's a bunch of people who are just watching and they just resonate, and I appreciate all the people who just understand me and are understanding themselves, and I'm just so grateful, and I'm just so honored to be a person that people can resonate with. You guys are my soul tribe, and I'm truly grateful for every single one of you guys. I promise I'm going to continue uploading and being more consistent. I've just been readjusting, but yeah, I love you guys so very much. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being part of this journey, and I will see you